70 successful attorney marketers on my Grow with Kara show. Most of those attorney marketers are gaining a meaningful percentage of their clients from social media, with the vast majority of those social clients coming from organic posts and videos rather than paid ads. These attorneys' descriptions of what's working best for them, they sometimes get overlooked. Other times you may have noted a tactic to implement, but your client work got in the way. For both of those reasons, I thought it would be worthwhile to periodically share a collection of the best suggestions I've received. Because social media has so effectively leveled the marketing playing field for lawyers, this first collection focuses on social media with an emphasis on what you can do for free. So let's begin with a reminder that spending money is not necessary to generate views and draw followers.
Getting fired is a high pressure situation, and employers know this. So this is the moment where you are most vulnerable. What they're gonna do is they're gonna slide a stack of papers in front of you. Within that stack of papers, you're gonna see a couple of things. You're gonna see an acknowledgement that you got your full final paycheck, and possibly even a waiver of your right to sue. Employers know that you're stressed out. They know you're not gonna read all this, or you might not know your rights. They're hoping that you sign that stack because you think it's the only way to get your final paycheck. You don't have to sign anything when you're fired. And if you sign one of these documents, you might waive your rights. 6- and 7-figure sex harassment settlements don't come out of nowhere. So if you can show the harassment actually happened and someone with authority knew about it, that's how you win your case. First, you need to show that you were actually harassed. Testimony is great, but written complaints to HR are even better. Second, you have to show the company is liable for the harassment that you suffered. Either a manager of the company, someone who's directly in charge of hiring and firing people, harassed you, or one of your coworkers harassed you and you reported it to a manager or HR. Here's when your lunch break has to be paid. If you're salaried exempt, that means you should not be clocked out for lunch. Your salary is all inclusive of your time. That means technically every lunch break is a paid break. If you're hourly non-exempt, the rules are a little different. Your lunch break is only unpaid if you are relieved of all duties. Too many lawyers go into this and they think, I need to spend $10K a month on a marketing team. I need a videographer. I need a sound guy with a boom mic. I need a sound stage. I need this. I need that. It's like, listen, you're not Warner Bros. Just be a person. Just pull this out and tell people, here's your problem. Here's what the law says about your problem. Here's how to fix your problem. That's all they need. That's all they need. And you're going to get attention, positive attention. Too many lawyers, they try to go full scale, high end production right off the bat. And they focus so much on production quality. They're not paying attention to who am I to this viewer and am I addressing their problems? I wish that more lawyers would spend less time shopping for expensive camera gear and just make 100 videos in a month. Seriously, take a month and say, hey, can I do 3 or 4 a day? And let me make 100 videos and see how they do. That is going to do so much more for you than finding the top rated marketing firm and hiring a bunch of videographers to come into your office. I feel very passionately about this. It's an extraordinary way to waste a lot of money and make videos that get 6,000 views tops.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's been proven that those high production value videos actually tend to perform, not as well as those, authentic, genuine, pull out your phone and talk. How often are you posting, Ryan?
As often as I can. In the beginning days, it was 3 to 4 a day, every day for like 3 months.
Wow.
And that is how I went from 0 to maybe 500,000 on TikTok. And then over time, it just kept growing. Now, what's happened is because of social media and because of the systems we've built around to kind of handle everyone, I'm so busy, it's getting harder and harder. But whenever I have time, before this interview, I pulled this out and I shot 3 quick videos. I'm going to edit them and post them later today. So I try to sneak time in whenever I can.
Regular posting is important. To grow, you need to post at least 4 to 5 days a week. Ryan advises those starting out to post several times daily for those first few months. He posted 3 to 4 times a day when beginning.
Do you rent with your significant other? Make sure that both of you sign the lease agreement. If your partner doesn't sign and you guys get into a dispute and someone moves out, you'll be left on the hook for the whole rent. Here's a trick question officers use when they pull you over.
You don't mind if I take a look inside, do you?
If you say no, the officers have obtained consent to search your vehicle. If you say yes, the officer will assume you're consenting. Be clear and make sure to say that you do not consent to any vehicle searches. You should never just pay your speeding ticket. It may seem right, but just paying for your ticket will result in a conviction on your driving record and motor vehicle points. Instead, schedule the matter for court, go speak to the prosecutor, and they will likely offer you a plea deal that reduces the points and the fines. You could also take a defensive driving course, which removes 2 points off your license.
Video topics and some specialties naturally pull large views. Think employment and family law. Personal injury is at the other end of the demand spectrum. Customers don't really care about accidents until they're in one, right? Unless they are voyeuristic watching those car crash videos. As a result, the smart social marketer focuses first on generating a following and second on reminding that following what he or she does for a living. Well, tell us about those topics. What were those videos that went viral, those early popular videos?
So, sexy videos, I like to call, are videos that either grab your attention or are relatable. So for my clientele, since I am relatively young, I'm sure I have a ton of young followers out there on on Instagram and TikTok specifically, videos about criminal law do the best. What to say to the police, what not to do, how do you go through getting pulled over? How do you beat a speeding ticket? What to look out for your lease if you're renting. These are the videos that are plaguing, or these are the concepts that are plaguing people our age, whether they're in their 20s or their teens or they're in their early 30s. Every time that I give out great information about what your insurance coverage should be, the video flops because people just tend not to care. So the criminal, the real estate, the landlord tenant content tends to do the best.
What do you say? Because attorneys will often tell me, well, I don't want to talk about employment law or criminal defense. I don't handle those types of cases. What do you say? What do you say to that?
It doesn't hurt to give out free information. Ultimately, I don't do social media with the mindset of with my social media manager, we talk about our metrics. I don't talk to him in the mindset of if I didn't sign up 50 cases, 50 personal injury cases from social media, we had a failing year. It's not about that. The way I look at being a personal injury attorney is you must build the brand. Because unlike a real estate attorney or criminal defense attorney, you don't need me right now. You may never need me for the next 5 years, but that one unfortunate day that if you are involved in an accident of some sort and you do need me, I want you to think, wait, there's that guy that I follow on Instagram that's always giving me free advice. Oh, let me reach out to him. Maybe he can help me. So it's just about brand building, and I'm willing to kind of produce content that helps people in their normal day-to-day lives so they can remember who I am.
Should you tell your lawyer if you committed the crime that you're being accused of? This is actually one of the most common questions that I get. The reality is, most lawyers will never ask their client that question. But you should be 100% truthful with your lawyer. However, you never want to hide facts from your lawyer because it really stops your lawyer from being able to properly defend you. Here's the trick the cops use to get your consent to search. This mainly happens when you get pulled over while you're driving. They'll ask you, do you have any weapons or contraband on you? And you'll say no, of course. Now here comes the trick question. The cops will then say, so you don't mind if we search the vehicle, right? The way that question is phrased, if you say no, then it sounds like, no, I don't mind if you search. And if you say yes, then it sounds like, yes, you can search. With that tricky line of questioning, the police can now write their report saying that you consented to the search. If this happens to you, make sure to clearly state, I do not consent to any searches. This is what you do if the police ask to look through your phone. Right away, ask the officer if they have a search warrant. If they don't have a warrant, immediately state that you will not consent to any searches. If they take it and search it anyways, keep your mouth shut and immediately ask for a lawyer. Your lawyer might be able to exclude that evidence.
Definitely. Tell us a little bit more about some of your top performing content. I mean, what types of videos seem to really resonate? I think sometimes lawyers don't really know what to say. Tell us if you can get a little more specific on what type of content seems to really spark the most engagement.
Well, the truth of the matter is criminal content is the #1 content for illegal stuff. So even if you're a PI lawyer, throw some criminal content out there. Tell people what they can do if the police knock out their door. Tell people what to do in a DUI situation. These are things that everybody can relate to. And if you want to go for the PI content, personal injury content, like Uber cases, Lyft cases, trucking cases, any regular car accident, you can post those videos and you can make them do well. But in order to make them do well, you have to make that video 10 times more engaging than the criminal content video that you just made. Because if somebody hears police at the door in the first 3 seconds, they're already interested. Because they're like, oh, that can happen to me. But nobody knows when a car accident is going to happen to them. It just happens out of the blue when they're not expecting it. So if you're going to make a PI, personal injury video, make it extremely engaging and say things that are very common to what can happen to you at a regular moment, what to do next in a car accident. You can say those things, but really make that video content good and engaging, or else people are not going to watch your personal injury content.
On social media, topics on everyday law perform best. It's a fact. I've heard it time and time again from my guests. Injury lawyers like Peter and Nariman cannot limit themselves to talking about accidents, auto accidents only, if they want to grow sizable followings. People don't care about accidents that haven't happened. Young people care about landlord-tenant issues, criminal law, also, those criminal law do's and don'ts, workplace rights. So those are the subjects many injury attorneys devote their videos to, with great success. But many additional popular topics exist, including several that don't require you to go outside your specialty. We've compiled a 2-page list of many of the most popular legal video topics with examples. Give me your email address in the chat now, and I'll actually send you that list.
In 2018, 17 people were killed, including 2 unarmed teachers at Parkland High School. 17 other students were injured. The only other person there that was armed other than the shooter was the school resource officer, Scott Peterson. While unarmed teachers ran towards the shooter, losing their lives in the process, Scott Peterson did not, even though he was the only armed person on the property other than the shooter. Prosecutors charged Scott Peterson with 7 counts of child neglect, 3 counts of culpable negligence, and 1 count of perjury. The issue for this trial is that under the child neglect statute, the person who is charged has to be a caregiver of the kids, and no school resource officer has ever been defined as a caregiver. Defense attorneys moved to dismiss based on the fact that he was not a caregiver, but the judge denied that motion. The state is going to have a tough time proving their case because there's been no other time where a school resource officer has been considered a caregiver of these kids. This will be a novel issue of law, and you can bet it will be appealed. But my guess is people are so angry at Scott Peterson for his inaction that this might be a case for jury nullification. With jury nullification, the state presents their case, the jury hears the case, the jury might be so angry at this man that they find him guilty, whether it fits the statute or not. So tell me what you think. Is he guilty of child neglect? Is he guilty of culpable negligence? Or do we just hate him for his inaction?
Drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
First up, we head to Jackson County, Florida, the trial of Zachary Wester. Former sheriff's deputy was charged with 67 counts of racketeering. Wester's accused of planting drugs in a dozen vehicles during random traffic stops.
Have you ever seen this before? Yeah. You're gonna go to jail today for possession of methamphetamine, okay? Oh man, dude, I'm serious, dude.
Notice as he prepares to put his gloves on, there's a small item in his left hand. Prosecutors argue that Wester is palming a small bag of meth, which he claims to find next to a spoon in the vehicle.
I'm happy to hear that this cop was sentenced to 12 years in prison. The prosecution relied on Zachary Wester's own body cam footage in the trial. Although some of the footage was used, he actually deleted most of it and then claimed he didn't know why it was deleted. Wester temporarily ruined these people's lives and did it only for his own personal gain, which is disgraceful.
The single most effective way to draw attention is to piggyback on the news of the day or the week. Newsjacking, right? Professionally adding your insight will help viewers understand and interpret what's happening.
I would recommend, regardless of the platform, regardless if it's on traditional Web 2 or Web 3, think about creating content around breaking news stories. Think about creating content around trending topics. What's everyone talking about right now? This could be in the sciences, it could be in the environment, it could be in a new court case breaking in California, it could be in technology, politics, whatever it might be, and integrate your opinion, whether it's through a social audio, whether it's a video, whether it's a short blog post that you're sharing and repurposing on all the major platforms, share your 2 cents worth. This is called newsjacking, and David Merriman Scott is the godfather of newsjacking. I was doing it before I met David. I didn't know that's what it was called. Once we connected through my daughter, by the way, we've become good friends, and we've done some amazing projects together. But what I was going to say is David has a book on Amazon, and he's a best-selling author, everybody, but he also has this little ebook. I think it's like $1 or $5 on how to newsjack. Get the book because there's a right and wrong way to do it. If you're newsjacking the right way, amazing things can happen. If you go about it the wrong way, for example, you're talking, and lawyers do this all the time. They're newsjacking a breaking story regarding a truck accident in town, okay, where there was a fatality. And they pretend like they're talking about this, and then it's like, call me if you're a victim in this accident. That's not the right way to newsjack. If you're talking about a national disaster and you happen to be selling generators, okay, that's not the way to newsjack. You genuinely want to add your 2 cents into the story. For example, when I was down at Strands Beach doing a run, the Bill Cosby story broke, putting drugs into women's, cocktails. My daughter was just getting ready to go to UCLA at the time. So this was a few years ago. I stopped, I saw this story. I went live on Twitter or Periscope, whatever it was, and I shared a quick thought. I'm reading about this. I have no idea what Mr. Cosby did or didn't do. In California, if this happened, this would be the civil side of it. This would be the criminal side of it. And by the way, as a dad with his daughter going to UCLA, going to a university, this is my biggest fear. And if this happened, then, there needs to be consequences. I shot this video, came home, took a shower, went into the office, and within 3 hours, I had a dozen inquiries from reporters from around the country to talk to me about that case, because I added something different to the story. I added what would happen civilly and or criminally if this was in California. And they heard a dad with a daughter who happened to be a lawyer sharing his passionate thoughts about it.
Newsjacking nearly always works when done regularly and well, but it requires prompt shooting and posting that will not always fit into your schedule. For a more accommodating sort of hybrid path, take a look at this Next Attorney Marketer's simple approach to piggybacking on both news items and on timeless videos.
All right. So, JD, you said you had nothing to drink tonight, right?
No.
Okay.
All right, at this point, she needs to just shut it down. Don't say anything else. The reality of the situation is, as soon as a cop mentions anything about alcohol, unfortunately, you are going to jail that night. He has already come to his conclusion that he has probable cause to arrest you for DUI, and at this point, everything he does is with the purpose of gathering more evidence to build a case against you. Nothing you can say or do will change the fact that you're going to get arrested that night.
Would you mind just doing a few tests for me?
None of us, but you pulled me over for lights. Isn't that a warning?
No, it can be a ticket.
I've gotten pulled over for my lights not being on, and I've sworn every time that's a warning.
It's a violation, so you can write somebody a ticket for it. Like I said, I want to, like I said, I can smell the odor of alcoholic beverage coming from inside your guy's car.
But you pulled me over for lights.
Yes, that's still a valid reason to stop you.
What is this residential center?
Oh, this is a place that the ministry owns. Well, not own. We're in the process of buying that. Yeah, we don't own it yet.
So are you renting to buy, or are you?
Yeah, we're leasing to buy.
You have that as an asset of $2,844,500. So do you own it?
I just answered that, didn't I? So we didn't own it.
Okay, but where does the? I'm sorry.
We're leasing to buy it. Did you? I thought we just said that.
All right, but you have listed it as an asset worth $2,844,000.
Oh, that should be more of a liability.
All right, so where does the number $2,844,000 come from? from on your
That's the
asset and liability?
That's, I guess, the appraisal value of the home or the residential center.
Is it a home?
No, it's a residential center. We use it.
Jason Fagnano has carved out a brilliant video niche for himself. Listen to it in his own words and then check out a couple examples on his profile. TikTok, he's at Fagnano Law. Tell us about that first video that did go viral. What was the topic? What was it about?
Sure. So I do a lot of like reaction videos, and I was on YouTube one day and I saw this hilarious video. I don't even know what you call the vehicle, but it was like a lift, some type of construction vehicle with a lift. And there was this, I don't know how else to say it, drunk guy on there acting crazy, but in a way that was likable. Like he was just so funny, so hilarious. So I did a reaction video to that and kind of put a legal analysis, and I would just, rather than talk, I would let him do the talking. And then I would, write what my thoughts were. So people want to know what are lawyers thinking in this situation. And it just took off. I had, probably 100 followers at that point. And I think that video ended up doing like 300,000 views. And I was up to, probably close to 10,000 followers within days. So
Wow. That's really cool. That's really cool. And those attorney reacts videos, I think that is your greatest chance of going viral. Really. I mean, even when you're you're searching in TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, the autofill is, if you search lawyer, it's lawyer reacts videos.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think those are really easy, I think, to shoot. Right? You just find an existing, an already popular, already trending video, and you put your commentary, your take on it, right? I mean, is it that simple?
It really is. I could not agree more. I obviously follow other lawyers who do this, and I'll be the first to tell you there are plenty of lawyer accounts that have much more polished, produced content than me. I'm not a tech person by any means. I'm not a videographer, but these are so easy to do, and it doesn't need to be polished to take off. And like you said, I mean, you have something that you can see it's already kind of gaining traction. People already like watching it. So now put your own spin on it, put a legal spin on it, and you're next thing you know, you're rolling.
Video creation does not have to be difficult. Jason's lawyer reacts videos. They're easy to create once you have found the underlying video that's already trending to comment on. He doesn't even have to talk about the underlying video in his case, right? He simply adds a few text captions. If you can make facial expressions, you can produce this type of video. Maybe, pointing and making some other gestures. You can actually delegate the search of good videos to comment on to one of your team members or to a freelancer.
How about no?
In 2022, social marketers were uniformly telling me that Instagram delivered more and higher quality clients than TikTok. But this year in 2023, the comments, they've really been mixed. About half of my recent interviewees are leaning heavily on TikTok and deriving most of their socially obtained clients directly from TikTok. Let's talk about a helpful, easy to implement technique for gaining more TikTok followers. What would you say is the ideal length for social videos, and how often are you posting?
So for TikTok, I think ideal length is, I would say under 10 seconds.
Wow.
15 seconds max.
Wow.
This is what I think is a great approach for attorneys. And I do this a lot is I will think of one really important tip or fact that I want my audience to know. And I will make a very, very short video. So something that's kind of like leaves people wanting to know more. So maybe like an 8-second video with just a text that says something interesting and maybe controversial. And then that leads, the comments and engagement. People like, wait, what do you mean? Explain more. And then that's when you make that follow-up video where it's like a longer video explaining exactly what you're saying. But in order to capture that attention and that audience, you need to put out those shorter videos because that's what's going in the FYP. Should I explain what the FYP is?
Yeah, please. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the FYP stands for the For You page on TikTok. So you have, when you're on your TikTok, you could see who you're following, but then you can go on the FYP and it's all these random people that you don't follow. And so if your goal is to end up on that FYP, so people that don't follow you can see your videos. And I mean, the goal is if you are trying to reach consumers or potential clients, people may have different goals. Attorneys may have different goals with who they want to reach. But for me, I'm very much consumer based. So I do want to get the client from the get-go. And so that's kind of my goal, is to reach a broader audience.
Adapting several tips for obtaining new views, more views, shares, followers will help you make steady progress. Social media marketing, it's an art. While it is not an expensive channel, it has become competitive and now requires some sophistication to succeed. Another helpful tip follows.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
more?
Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
The following no speaking technique is an easy way to create higher view videos. You can even get multiple posts out of one video segment. Here, take a look. I noticed that you frequently use sort of trending audio or trending sounds in your video to gain even more views. Sometimes you're kind of lip syncing the words, other times simply kind of pointing to the text. Tell us about this approach. Why do you do it and how are you creating those videos?
I'm doing it because Instagram, I obviously this is for TikTok too, but I'm doing it because Instagram's taking kind of like a little bit of a shift, trying to be a pseudo TikTok in my opinion, because now when you log into Instagram, you can click the bottom middle button and just scroll through reels like you would on TikTok. And those are people that you're not necessarily following. And so a lot of those videos are using trending audios that are fun because Instagram thinks people want to see videos with this audio that people keep watching. And so I use like those trending audios often so that my video is more likely to get caught up in that stream and get more views and more attention and more engagement.
Yeah, that's smart. Seems like the lip syncing ones are a little bit, take some coordination, right? To kind of get it right. Are those harder to shoot or?
Not anymore. I think I've gotten like pretty good. It depends how long it is, of course, but like I think I've gotten pretty good at just like listening a couple times and then doing like 1 or 2 shoots. And I'm like, this is good enough. I try not to go for like perfect or else you're going to drive yourself insane.
Trending sounds, trending audio is effective. Using trending sounds for your audio can deliver materially larger views and grow your follower count, and you don't need to lip sync to employ them. Give the technique a try, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the results. I know I was. Brittany's Instagram is at lawyer.brit, B-R-I-T-T, provides many inspirational examples. Check it out.
The Solis Law Firm now represents more than 100 concert goers.
I have incorporated Apple into the suit at this point. We were the first to do so, along with Live Nation and Travis Scott and several others.
Their lawsuit claims the pit area in front of Stage 1 was too small, medical treatment areas weren't accessible for those closest to the stage, and the festival didn't have enough security or medical personnel.
The biggest thing I noticed was 1, the amount of people couldn't fit in that small space, and 2, the lack of medical personnel and medical tents and security.
I know that many of you don't handle mass tort, so I'll actually keep this tip brief. I include the tip because social media is so ideally suited to this space and performs so well at zero cost. Here are 2 approaches, one using longer form video and one using short videos.
So last year, in the middle of the year, I had gotten into YouTube, which I'm trying to do more and more now, which I love because YouTube is just a different beast from Facebook and Instagram because it is a search engine. Right. And people are are out there searching for information, and that will bring them to you. Whereas opposed to the marketing involved with more Instagram and Facebook stuff, you're putting out ads to kind of net people in a big net. So last year alone, we had put out one video for a mass tort, a new mass tort that had come out regarding a ultrasound gel that had been recalled, that was contaminated with bacteria and caused all these horrific, infections and amputations, really horrible stuff. And we got about 45 cases from that just last year alone.
Wow.
And they were pretty serious cases.
Have you tried this sort of newsjacking approach where you talk about either a high profile case or something trending in the news and kind of give your insight on it?
Absolutely. When something really large happens, for example, Astroworld, I put a TikTok video out immediately. And I had my first client who attended the Astroworld concert within an hour.
Wow.
And from that, I got 97 Astroworld clients and news coverage, because I was able to say, now I represent an Astroworld victim. We filed a lawsuit, got even more cases and free press coverage. So it all started with one video talking about the Astroworld concert. And that got me clients on TikTok. I was really amazed. And so I did it again whenever there was an oil-filled explosion, just talking about oil-filled explosions and what I heard and where it happened. And the same thing happened. So I will keep doing that.
Yeah, I guess so, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you using hashtags? How are you really taking advantage of those trending topics?
You can add locations, use hashtags, and just target the areas where the incident happened. And that's what and the age groups as well. So you can boost those videos that you're posting and then target it to the area you want to post at just by adding location. If you don't even want to pay to boost it, you can still add a location or hashtag in a location and post it for free.
Social marketing is especially well suited for mass torts. The rapid dissemination of information available with social media allows fast movers to leap in front of mass torts firms who rely on traditional advertising, right? Both Kyle Newman and Mariah Solis have had success when they posted timely and helpfully, and they spent little to nothing obtaining their mass tort clients. Of the different ways to obtain more views and more followers, this is my favorite. Working on behalf of dozens of attorney accounts, we have found boosting popular videos to be highly effective. It's generated large increases, like tens of thousands of views, and steady growth in followers across multiple attorney profiles in a variety of videos. Boosting, it's not expensive. We spend just $200 a month on a typical attorney account. When you begin boosting in your own Instagram account, Meta will actually cap your spending at about $25 a day, which means the most you can spend boosting your Instagram videos is about $750 a month. But here is what an enormously successful social marketer thinks about boosting.
Yeah, boosting is fantastic. And what's cool about boosting is it's much cheaper than SEO, and you get more immediate results, and you don't have to count on some specialist to give you a data spreadsheet that you pretend to understand and hope that they're not screwing you. I like boosting. Here's why I like boosting. You don't go in blind. You only boost posts that are doing well organically on their own. Never force a video to go viral. If people don't share it and it's not going viral, it's because there's something wrong with the video. You can't just say, oh, I'm being shadow banned. You're not that important. I promise you're not being shadow banned. You think you are, but you're probably not. It's just not a good video. Try again. But once you see a video and you see, wow, this got shared 50 times, 60 times, 70 times, YouTube is telling you this is a good video. Consider boosting it. $5-10 a day, 5 or 6 days, and see what happens. So we started boosting videos in January, only the winners. We give videos 72, 96 hours, something like that, and see how they do. And if they're doing well organically, we give them a boost.
Nice, smart, super smart. And so, yeah, those top performers, right? Those top shares, monitor that and put some money. And the budget can be relatively modest, right? For these boosts, you don't
need $200, maybe less. I initially was skeptical. So I did the whole $5 a day, 5 days, see what happens. And then we actually got good results from it. I had periods where, I was busy or traveling, whatever it was, and I wasn't posting videos. So I thought, okay, while I'm not able to post, let's boost some of these reels so that some work is happening while I'm gone. And then I call my intake team and say, hey, how's volume looking? They go, I don't know what happened, Ryan, but we had a spike. We got, 300 calls this weekend. And I was like, all I did was boost the reel. I didn't make anything new.
Nice.
So it appears to be working.
Getting specific about our experience with boosting, in our initial test, we spent an average of $90 each across 14 Instagram reels. Those reels covered 6 specialties. So it was bankruptcy, criminal defense, estate planning, family law, personal injury, and social security disability. Before boosting, the average views were just 579 per video, 579 views per video. After boosting, the average was 10,000 per video, 10,114 views per video. The average likes before boosting were 9, after boosting 48 per video. The average followers before 268, after 306. So on average, each time we spent just $90 boosting a single lawyer's video, we obtained an additional 9,500 views, 40 likes, 40 followers. So we've now boosted well over 100 lawyer videos, and those early test results, they're really holding up. An infrequently discussed but important aspect of social media marketing is lead handling. How do prospective clients actually contact you? How can those contacts be handled effectively, efficiently, without losing cases? Different social marketers have different approaches, of course, but they all agree that a systematic approach is necessary. You have to have a coordinated intake approach. The most efficient approaches lead the prospect along a very specific path and sometimes include automated, preliminary screening. Here are how 3 different lawyers do it. Are you sending those prospects through any kind of funnel? Are you asking them, what's the call to action? Are you asking them to send you a DM, reach out?
So for me, generally, I like to add the send message button in my boosted post rather than the call now or add your email. I just want them to quickly message me on whatever device they're on, since 99% of them, I believe, are on mobile devices. So when they're looking at our ads, that's what we've seen. So I just say send message here, and they automatically, it goes to my DMs, to my Facebook Messenger, and I get a copy to my email address.
I noticed you have a Jot form linked directly from your social profile. So an inquiry form that people can click on and fill out. Is that being used? Is that something that's helpful?
It is. So, I'm all about trial and error. I think maybe been doing this for a couple months now. I saw the Jot form app and wanted to give it a try. I've tried many different things. I've used the direct texting where they can literally text right to your cell phone. You don't have to give them your real cell phone number if you're worried about people calling you. But there's a fake phone number and it goes through Instagram and comes up to your real cell phone. So I've done that. The Jot form I like because it kind of qualifies the leads a bit for you. That form, it's going to put people in 2 different directions. I think the first question is, have you been arrested or charged with a crime, or have you been injured? And then based on their answer there, that'll bring them to a different place. And then based on their answer there, and it really qualifies and gets you the information that you need. So like if a big case is coming and you want to know right away, you have that information. You can call them back immediately if it looks kind of fishy and like it's a waste of your time. You don't have to get back to them. But yeah, I mean, I like the Jot form. I don't know that it's going to be the be all and end all. Like I said, I just try and switch it up, try new things, see what works. And, I'm open to all kinds of different technologies.
It's kind of what marketing's all about, right? Let's
absolutely
test and try out what's going to work, what's going to resonate, and what worked last month maybe not work this month, right? So that's
absolutely
good. Yeah, but I do like this form because it does exactly what you described. It qualifies, kind of lightly qualifies those prospects so that it does some self-screening. You don't have to, you kind of know how to prioritize that lead that comes in, but it's also not too overwhelming. I don't think, like I have it open right now. You ask, when were you injured? Did you receive medical treatment? Have you had a consult with any other lawyer? So it's just some basic, easy to answer questions that isn't putting too much on the prospect, but also gives you some really valuable information, I would imagine.
Exactly. I think if you're asking too much, people get scared and people don't want to spend hours filling out all this information. So just keep it short, sweet, to the point. I've found really across all platforms, any type of inquiry-based technology, that short and sweet is the best way to go.
Yeah, I agree. I notice you have a link to a free case evaluation directly from your Instagram profile. Is that popular? Are you getting leads that way?
Yeah, so originally I had a different type of link. I think it was a Linktree link on Instagram. However, I wanted something, it was a two-step process. You had to click on the link and then you had to go in and click on free case evaluation after that. And I felt like that two-step process is as easy as it sounds was actually turning off leads. So I started this last month and I've gotten more cases. And so, take that with what, I guess I don't have that much, time to, as far as statistics of whether that's effective or not, but it's helped this past month.
An easy thing to do, right? Why not?
Yeah. Anyone can create a Jot form. You just go and create a little lead form. You don't need a website to do it.
Multiple intake approaches can work on social media, certainly, but you need to adopt one. Too many attorney profiles simply send prospects to their website, their homepage, which can certainly be overwhelming and certainly less effective. If you don't want to use an intake form like Jason does, on TikTok, remember @Fignano Law, or Clay does on Instagram @ThePayneLawyer, then at least send prospects to a dedicated landing page instead of your website, instead of your homepage. And if you're fortunate enough to be generating meaningful lead volume from your social profile, then consider gathering some basic information on your intake form or your landing page. Your team will then learn which prospects deserve the most prompt and persistent follow-up. Social media is a national marketing platform, of course. You'll receive out-of-state leads, and if you post videos outside of your specialty, you'll probably also receive leads not necessarily in your specialty. Rather than looking at these leads as a distraction, recognize them as the opportunity that they are.
Obviously, Instagram, TikTok, they're national platforms. So do you get leads from other states? Are there specific challenges that arise there? What do you do with those? I hear that objection sometimes. Maybe you can speak to that.
Sure. That's actually the biggest problem I have is since I've gotten about like 50 to 70 million views now across all platforms in the last 10 months, maybe more. And people are coming from all over. And Instagram lets you see like 10% of your followers are in LA, 10% of them are in New York. And all of a sudden I get a lead from Manhattan, a car accident lead. And obviously I can't take that case because I'm not barred in New York, in the state of New York. So I've found certain attorneys in those states that I'll regularly just send the cases to because I can't take it. And I'm hoping that one day if they get a lead from California on their social media, they'll send it to me. So it's a two-way streak and we both benefit from it.
Yeah, so it sounds like a sort of added bonus to all of this social media work is this network that you're really starting to build. Yeah, that's great. Go ahead.
And I've gotten so many people, like so many attorneys from Florida, Texas, New York, New Jersey, all these states all around the country. Even I got a lead from North Dakota the other day.
Wow.
And there's attorneys there that practice PI and they'll take your case and you can send it to them and it'll be a great relationship to have. And you don't have to just have one attorney in that state that you send them to. You can have multiple attorneys that you work with. And there's all types of leads that I'm getting on social media. Sometimes it's a DUI case, sometimes the PI case, sometimes it's landlord tenant. So it's not, when you're doing these types of videos and there's so 360 around all these different types of areas of law, you're going to get leads that are related to all different types of cases.
To benefit fully from the opportunity that out-of-state and out-of-specialty leads provide, you'll need to build a nationwide referral network. The best members of that network will be lawyers who not only take good care of your referrals and pay an ethical referral fee, but who also have a presence on social media and so can reciprocate by referring cases back to you. You can build that referral network using an online approach, as will be explained by the next two attorneys.
Sure. So I would say I probably started back in 2020, or maybe no, 2021. In January 2021, I made the leap. And a lot of what I did was, market research, right? And I guess a lot of that was analysis paralysis, but it was doing a lot of market research, following other lawyers to see what it was that they did, the higher end accounts, right? The people that have a lot of followers and bring in a lot of business. And so I would really research what those people were doing and what appeared to be successful for them. And then I would just reach out to them in the DMs and really kind of comment a lot on their posts, right? Because people don't really, if you just send someone a random DM, and you're not really going to hear back all that often, right? But I would comment and engage a lot and trying to become part of their community. And then that kind of led to becoming friends with them and things like that. And that's how I really started to kind of get leads for cases in the Carolinas and really kind of expand my business.
Yeah. So, you're really looking to connect with fellow attorneys, looking to kind of attract referral sources on Instagram as opposed to prospective clients, right?
Exactly, right? So a lot of my page kind of is geared toward meeting other attorneys. And I really promote, here in the Carolinas, you can ethically fee split, right? And so I really promote the fact that, hey, you send me the case because you have a big national following and people get hit up all the time, and a lot of these lawyers, they build a following in our community where people contact them because they know, like, and trust them, right? And so I'm trying to become that attorney that other lawyers feel like they know, that they like, and that they trust. And so I've been able to kind of let them know that I will do everything by the book. I never solicit clients or anything like that. And I'm more than happy to share in those fees, right? Because I subscribe to this belief of I'd rather have, 2/3 or a 50-50 split or a 60-40 split of $1 than have no case at all. And right. You mentioned previously, right now I have roughly 115 open files. 100 of those files, I looked at it before we got on here today, 100 of those files are from attorney referrals.
Wow.
Right. And so that would basically mean I would have only 15 of my own cases right now, which is really tough to make a living unless you're doing some of these, larger multi-million-dollar cases, which what attorney doesn't want those? I'm obviously working to get to that point. Right. But my practice right now is not there. And so if I didn't have those people that know, like, and trusted that I'm going to take care of their clients, their brand, referring me those cases, then I kind of would really be, I don't want to say without a job, but I wouldn't have anywhere as near the amount of files that I have now.
So Jason, social media is obviously a national platform. Are you referring any out-of-state social leads to other attorneys?
Absolutely. And that's a good point because, one of the things, because it is a national platform, a large number, if not the majority number of leads that you get will be in a jurisdiction where I'm not licensed to practice. So I use those in multiple ways. I will absolutely refer them out. And then, you're building a relationship with the attorney that you're referring them to. And hopefully, everybody comes to Florida at some point for vacation, go to Disney. They know somebody who was hurt or, God forbid, arrested in Florida. They need an attorney. Well, now they're going to reciprocate and send the cases back to me. If the rules allow a referral fee, I have no problem taking a referral fee because I know I pay out a lot of referral fees. So, there's just a lot of positives that can come from that.
Yeah, that's a nice little bonus, right, to social media.
Exactly.
Did you build this network through social media, or how did you kind of build the network, the referral network?
Most of the out-of-state attorneys, yes, through, well, I would say a good portion is through social media. I'm also involved in some national, the American Association of Justice, some organizations that are national, so that helps too. But yes, just like I hope people like watching my content, I I like watching other people's content too. So I've watched and continue to and follow a lot of out-of-state attorneys, and they'll put a comment and on one of my videos, and I'll do the same with theirs, and we're encouraging each other. And then next thing I know, I have a case in their jurisdiction, I will absolutely send them a direct message, and I've gotten reciprocations as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of guests that I've had on this show have become referral partners and really kind of building that referral network. For our audience watching, do you have any states where you're looking to add partners specifically?
A lot from the Northeast. If there's any attorneys up there, up in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, it seems like we get a huge influx down here in South Florida of people from the Northeast.
I've spoken with several social marketers who built their nationwide referral networks using social media. Being successful on social media enters you into a club, a pretty exclusive club whose members are readily accepted by other social media stars. Outreach occurs online, sometimes beginning slowly with general comments. The smaller your following in relation to your prospective referral partner, the more time you should first invest in building that relationship. This is the last interview excerpt. I finished with this one because it is both powerful and lightly used. I'll let the techniques user explain it. Yeah, so Dunya, you're obviously, you're building this Dream 100. You're building a referral network, right? That you can really count on. Are you, how are you generating those new relationships? How are you nurturing them? Are you, obviously, sounds like you're putting some really, solid automation, communication in place. Are you in person? Are you online? Are you mentioned before this, you're kind of utilizing some Facebook groups. Let's get into those specifics, how all of the relationships are actually being built and nurtured.
Yeah, so relationships across the board are nurtured by it's one thing to have face-to-face communication, which is amazing, but that takes time. So, and there's only so much time in the day. How do you replicate that into your online presence? Through storytelling, through Facebook groups is funny because it was literally like one little nugget that I got from the Russell program, and that one nugget made up for everything I've ever paid, honestly.
Wow.
Because most people don't realize, I don't know, I know I didn't, that there are very, very active Facebook groups out there. For example, I'll tell you my story. Yes. So I wanted to make a pivot from being crazy high volume personal injury practice to, sure, I love the volume, but I wanted more higher value cases. And I wanted to serve the people who were most vulnerable. That was the main thing. So catastrophically injured clients, people are really, really struggling from injuries from an accident. And I wasn't really known as the attorney that handles catastrophic clients. So I had to find a way. I mean, I've litigated thousands of cases. I've tried them. I'm a really good personal injury attorney. My team is really, really solid, right? I know that. I know we can handle it. But how do I get people to understand that? If they are in an accident like this, or a family or a friend, we can serve them. Yeah. So because of that law change in Michigan, there were groups that were really suffering and still are till this day. And that's a whole nother topic, but suffering because there were some changes that were made to the law without a really thoughtful, thorough process around those changes. So people were really, really affected by it. And there were groups online that were talking about this. So I went into those groups and I started serving that community however I could, at the protests, through information, whatever it might be. Now,
these were existing groups. This wasn't a group that you were starting. Okay. I see.
Existing groups. So just going into existing groups that have your the people that you want to serve in them, and just serve them. Just give them value as much as you can. And honestly, people are going to start noticing you as a person who wants to help this type of group of people. And then, even with our we have a startup division. So I tell our startup attorneys or consultants to go into the startup groups and give value. Just give value and it will come back, right? So utilizing Facebook groups, I think was huge. And if you can do it effectively, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes every day. Just log in at night. I usually do it at night after the kids go to bed. I'll log into the groups and just comment, like, give value where I can. And that's it. 10, 15 minutes a day. And it makes a world of difference.
Wow. So how long did it take you to actually start generating quality prospects through those connections you were making through these Facebook groups?
So it takes time. It does. These things take time, but you'd be pleasantly surprised. Like, you'll get a client like here and there. And then once something massive happens, like, so for example, we got a client who we had a successful outcome for. They became like the ambassador in the group. Yeah. So like, once you have results and then those people go back into the group and talk to everyone else about the results you have, then that like skyrockets. So it does take time for the initial leads to come in. But once you hit on one, like, then the trajectory is insane. So
yeah. And how were they coming in? Were they, they would obviously see you being kind of that resource in the group and then pick up the phone and call the firm? Would they message you? Would they email?
Most of them on like social media platforms like that usually come through DMs. So usually come through your messenger. So you want to make sure you're always checking those, or have like a virtual assistant always checking them for you, and then flagging you if they don't know how to answer or whatnot. I usually try to keep our phone number very visible, so they could call if they chose to, because some clients just like to pick up the phone and call. You want to make it as easily accessible as possible. And you want to think about clients who are tech savvy, non-tech savvy, like across the board. So anybody can contact you like really quickly. I usually just say, text me. Here's my cell phone number. Just text me. So I have a separate cell just for that.
Give them as many opportunities to contact you as possible. Yeah. So we haven't really, none of my past guests have really talked much about Facebook groups. So I am really interested in diving in a little bit more here. Specifically to get an idea of volume, to see if this would be worthwhile for, the attorneys watching to dedicate time to get an idea of volume. Now, are you now getting leads daily from Facebook groups, or, tell us about how that looks?
Yeah, definitely. If you're consistent in a group for an extended period of time, from like, several months, you will start getting consistent leads from that group. There is like a process behind it, and I can talk to you a little bit about like the framework. Yeah. So first, you need to find a group that actually is housing the clients that you want. Don't go into a group that doesn't have the clients that you want, because you might get bombarded with like leads that you do not want to deal with. Okay. Yeah. Number one, once you're able to find that group, then you want to make sure that that group is actually active. Like, there's a lot of interaction within that group. So the way to check that is literally just pulling it up and seeing, is it just all advertisements? Right? Or is there like actual communication, engagement, conversations? How often is that happening? Is it happening daily? Is it happening every minute? Is it happening monthly? Because a lot of these groups that have your clients are also sitting dormant. There's not a lot of interaction in those groups. Those groups are not going to be super helpful for you. The third thing is be consistent. Let them see your face, and, whether it be simple likes or comments, you're going to want to be visible in that group and serve them, give value as much as you possibly can. So there is like a little bit of a framework around just the Facebook groups generally. But once you find them, that's all it takes, and then the leads will start coming in. You can even go a step further. If you truly find a group that you want, people don't look at acquisitions of Facebook groups as a thing, but just like you're acquiring through like growth strategies, you obviously like, okay, I just acquired a law firm in Tampa, for example, right? So like, I want to grow. So I'm either going to do it with, partnerships, co-counsel, off-counsel relationships, or I'm going to do it by acquiring law firms. Same goes online. If you find a group that is super active and like you want to own the group, then just try to acquire the group.
Wow. I've never thought of that. That's interesting. How do you go about that? You contact the owner and
Yeah, you contact the owner and you're just, you talk about it. Hey, would you like to sell your group? Here's my budget. Let's start negotiating. a lot of times you won't get responses back, but sometimes you will. And just like anything, if you're a really good negotiator, you find a way. You find a way to get in, right? So you might have to message them 700 times, but eventually you'll get in. But that's just something to keep a lookout. And it's not that, a lot of them are not that expensive because nobody's really thinking about selling their groups. And if they're not building it for a specific purpose, they just want to serve, they can still serve internally within the group and make some money as well. So why wouldn't they, right? So if they're not looking to like monetize the group in any way, then it's something that they're willing to do.
What's not that expensive? What can you give us a range of,
anywhere between, like, honestly, like you can acquire a group for like $2,000-$3,000 to whatever, depending on the group, right? Probably even lower if you see a group that's like just starting up, but they might have like 500 contacts in there. They don't really look like they're engaging too much. You may be able to get that group for like $500. If you tell me I can get 500 contacts that I'm engaging with every single day, for $500, like, no, for sure I can return on that. Even if I get one client, that's already gonna probably double, triple, maybe quadruple the value of what I paid for the group.
Exactly. About how many groups are you active in now, or how many do you own at this point? How many are you juggling?
I laugh because you don't want to be in. So at one point I was in so many groups and it was just too much. Like you don't want to be in that many groups. Like I hyper focus on 3 to 5 groups is what I hyper focus on because they have my audience and they're very engaged. But I have about 20 Facebook groups altogether that I'm working through, but like I hyper focus on 3 to 5.
Okay. What are some of the most popular groups that you're active in?
So like I'm in a lot of like startup entrepreneurship Facebook groups. Like for example, like I just told you, we just acquired a firm in Tampa, Florida. So I just got into the Facebook group that's like Tampa, Florida, Arabic speaking individuals. Okay, our attorney out there speaks Arabic. And you could do this with anything. If you have Spanish speaking individuals or Korean speaking individuals, you can literally search like Korean speaking Facebook groups, and then it will pull up in your area, and then you can go ahead and target that way. So it really is just being a little bit creative and thinking a little bit outside of the box. And what is your like value proposition compared to another firm? So language is always a big one. I don't know. Trying to think of some other examples, but like if you think of like your value proposition, what you can offer, and then find groups that you're going to be able to interact with, or maybe even your team. So like I've been really focused on trying to get my team into certain groups that they love, like their hobbies. Like a person loves motorcycles on my team. I'm like, get into motorcycle groups.
Yeah, right.
If you love basketball, get into basketball groups. Like it doesn't really have to be specific to what you're doing, but like these are people that are living there that you love to engage with. So they're not gonna like balk at or not like the fact that they have to spend 10 or 15 minutes in these groups because they actually enjoy it. It's part of their passion. Again, going back to like passion, growth, all of it, I feel like always intertwines.
Dunya credits her activity in several Facebook groups, one for enabling her firm to keep growing despite the adverse law change, and 2, transforming her reputation from a personal injury lawyer to a catastrophic injury expert. Dunya invests only 10-15 minutes a day and $0 outside her purchase of one of the groups. That is what I call a winning marketing technique. I hope you found these excerpts to be helpful and my comments to be insightful. I plan to deliver one of these every quarter. Thank you for your loyalty. It's been so much fun getting to know you every week on the Grow with Cara show. And hey, if you need help with your social media, we should chat. We can build a robust social media presence for you in your law practice, just like we're doing for more than 100 law firms around the country across 9 different specialties. Each month, we remotely shoot 16 to 20 social videos for you in just 30 minutes, which is, of course, far less time than it would take you to script and shoot that many videos on your own. Our scripts are written by James Publishing's experienced attorney editors, the same attorney editors who have been expertly editing our practice guides for decades. Our post consists of videos and carousels, including trending audio like we talked about. We handle all the editing, which is probably the most labor-intensive part on our end. We add captions. We post on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, all 4 of those platforms. And then we boost your best performing reels, which materially lifts their views and likes and certainly speeds up your growth, your follower growth. So feel free to set an appointment with me. I've shared the link in the chat, and I really look forward to seeing you on the next session of the Grow with Cara show. Have a great day. Keep marketing. Take care. Bye-bye.